This
Okay, good
conference will
morning.
now be recorded.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. This is Reagan with RL Real Estate and eXp Realty in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Good morning.
Hey Reagan, how's it going?
Good, good. Thank you so much for being here this morning. So I'm going to hand it over to you and you tell me who you are.
Awesome. Well, you got to stop me if I go too long. I tend to ramble. So my
Yes,
name is my name is Kevin Kauffman. I am the co-founder and co-owner of a real estate team called Group 4610 Network. We are based in the Phoenix area. I say based because while that is our hub and our home base, we have what we call an expansion team in a few different locations, including Denver, Colorado, and San Luis Obispo, California, Dallas, Texas, and Nashville, Tennessee. So we cover a little bit of ground. I've see Fred and I have been in business together now for just over 12 years. So 2008 was February 1st, 2008 was 12 years ago that we started working together. Kind of came up in the short sale world, not kind of like my third transaction ever was a
yes.
short sale, and then pretty much probably 950 of the next 1,000 transactions were short sales. So
Okay.
that's really how I cut my teeth, so to speak, in real estate, and how we grew our business was in the short sale world, which is kind of a timely thing given what we're potentially facing now. So yeah, that's
And
a little bit about
who
us.
is Fred?
So Fred is my business partner. He and my wife have been friends since they were little kids. They got like a group of friends that have known each other since they probably second or third grade. And she introduced us prior to me getting into real estate, but he had maybe just gotten into real estate, and we ultimately ended up deciding to work together a couple years later when I got licensed. So
Cool. And
he's my business partner,
Fred's last name is?
Fred Weaver.
There we go. Okay, very good. Okay, so what I would like to know, and you're in the Phoenix area, correct?
I am, yes.
Okay. Tell me what the real estate market is doing in Phoenix and maybe in what's going on with some of the other cities right now due to the coronavirus pandemic.
Yeah, so I'm going to, if you don't mind, I'm actually going to log in and get you some stats just to kind of share some of the stuff, or maybe not some stats, but a little more detail on this because it's been interesting for the last couple of weeks. What we've been talking about with our team members is the fact that, year over year, the inventory in Phoenix is down like 41, 42%. Like there's no homes for sale. Like, I mean,
Sure,
this was an absolutely just crazy beginning of the spring market for us with just no inventory. I mean, last year was low enough inventory, but this year got really crazy. In fact, it's the lowest I've seen it in my now almost 13 years in real estate. So,
wow.
I mean, when I
Okay,
got into real estate, there's probably like 50,000 houses, 50. I can remember there being 59,000 homes for sale, and there's
okay,
probably less than 9,000 homes for sale right now
wow.
in the Phoenix market, and that was pre the last couple of weeks. I won't say pre-coronavirus because that stuff was already happening, but it really wasn't impacting the market the way it is today, right? So
Sure,
it's been an interesting market anyways, and then you kind of add on all of the other challenges that we're now presented with. It's definitely keeping us on our toes.
sure. So, Kevin, what I need to do so we can see your screen is I'm going to make you the presenter right now. And so you're going to get a little box that pops up that says, um, do you accept and to share your screen?
Awesome. Let's see if it'll let me do this here. Oh, why is this not letting me do this? Sorry
Did
about
you,
that.
that's okay. Did you get the, will you accept my request?
No, it wanted to. Says we'd have to quit GoToMeeting before I could give it permission.
No.
So I'll
Hang
click later. That's okay. Let's do this. We can talk through some. I'll log in and we can talk through some, and I'll just send you a snapshot of it.
on. Okay.
And you can kind of see what's going on there. And if you want to post it maybe in comments or wherever else this is posted, we could do that as well.
Awesome. Hey, do me a favor. Can you see my screen?
I sure can.
Okay. Here we go. We're going to now make you the presenter so we can see your screen.
Hey, there we go.
Yay.
That worked. Okay.
Perfect.
So let me see if I can get logged in here. Actually, this may be already be set up.
Cool.
So this is, I won't go too far into this because this is exclusive to Phoenix. We have something called the Crawford Report, which is
Oh yeah, I've
it's,
heard of that.
have you, yeah, so it's local to Phoenix. The guy, Mike Orr, I met him right when he started this company. Really amazing analytics. Like as you can see here, this is just one page. If we come here, you can see they've got, different charts for literally anything you could ever think of. You want to see stats in the real estate world, anything from new listings to sales price, listings under contract, success rate, and then
Okay,
you can break the stuff out into city by zip code, you name it, by price point. Um, there's different maps, different dashboards, all by city, by the secondary cities as well, different
okay,
analysis that he provides. So it's pretty in depth. Where I was looking for here is the news and commentary, and
okay.
his daily observations are pretty phenomenal. It looks like this today he's got some stuff up here about the coronavirus and the different stats. You can see the number of cases versus a week ago. Interesting
Right.
that he's got that stat in there.
Yeah,
But
that is.
what I really love is he really talks about how this impacts um, this impacts the real estate market, right, and what's going on.
Okay.
Um, Here's a little more of
And
like
you
his.
said this is specific to Phoenix, this Crawford report?
It is, yeah, it's specific to Phoenix.
Okay, because I have a coaching client, a real estate coaching client who is in, oh gosh, what is the name? Not Chandler, Awatuki.
Awatuki, okay, yeah.
Yeah, she's from Keller Williams, and her name is Shirley Coomer.
Oh, I know
If you
Shirley.
know. Yeah, yeah. So anyway, yeah, she is the one who told me about the Crawford report, and I just think it's so cool.
It really is. And here's what I love is this guy, Mike, he's a genius. And he comes in and he puts in some real, he doesn't just publish the stats. He comes in and puts in his analysis as well. It's usually not daily. Obviously with all the things that are going on right now, um,
Yeah.
he's putting in a lot more effort into that on daily, but
And what is his name again, Kevin?
Michael Orr,
Okay.
ORR,
Yep.
really great guy. Um,
Okay, so new listings by month. Okay.
Yeah, so you could see here we were 2020. I mean, we were down. That's a pretty good percent. I mean, 10% just of the new listings coming into
Right.
the beginning of the year over year. But I mean, as you can see, we were trending down already towards the end of last year. Like we were already having fewer and fewer listings come on the
Sure.
market. So it's been,
And
I
that
say
has
all that.
nothing to do with the coronavirus. That is just the
No,
pure market.
that's just our market and kind of what's going on. And then we've got also, I don't want to say unique to our market, but sort of unique to our market in the way that we have the most penetration from the digital disruptors, if you will, from the Open Door, OfferPad, Zillow, because they've all started here. I mean, Open Door did their
Yes.
first transaction here 5.5 years ago. So
Wow.
here's a number of here's even they're being impacted because there's less homes for them to be able to buy.
Right.
So if you look at this, their February statistics, their numbers are down year over year as well. As an
Yep.
example, in 2020, February 2020, they bought a combined 321 homes,
Okay.
but a year ago, February, it was 446. So they're
Wow.
even being able to they're buying fewer homes um, before the coronavirus impact as well. So we have
Mm-hmm.
this is a big part of our market, as you can see. There's months where the number of homes that they bought and the number of homes that they sold exceed 1,000. So that's a
Right.
great deal of transactions that are being done by these companies here. So that's a big thing here in the Phoenix area.
Yes. Yes. Annual change in inventory, minus 39%
Yeah,
for all iBuyers combined. Wow. Okay.
it's it's pretty crazy. You can see the number of closings were down in the under 250 price range, up quite a bit in the 250 to 500 and 500 to a million. And really, probably a million here is considered luxury. And even the
Okay.
luxury, well over a million, is the number of those transactions are way up this year. And it's just because the bottom of our market is it's just doesn't exist.
Got it. So then tell me this, median price range right now for
Well,
Phoenix?
let's go find that because I'm sure if I quoted you, I would absolutely be wrong.
Right.
Um, So let's go find out what it is here. Um,
And people would call you out for that, Kevin.
Absolutely, and I'm not willing to. I'm absolutely not willing to do that. I get enough people chomping at my heels. Let's see, where is that on here? Actually, let me go to the public report. That should tell us, or not.
Access denied.
I'm not logged into my account technically right now, so it doesn't want to.
Oh,
Let me run the flash on it.
daily market.
This report's
Okay.
pretty awesome. So
Wow.
you asked about not average, right? You asked median price,
Yeah.
300. It's
Okay.
weird. I would have guessed right. Okay, I'm
Is
surprised.
that what you would have said?
I would have guessed exactly 300.
Okay.
That's dumb luck. I knew
So
it was
here in
somewhere around
Sioux
there.
Falls, South Dakota, we're looking at a median price of probably 220. I'm saying an estimated 220, so I don't get called out. But that's kind of our median.
Yeah, it's it's interesting. I remember. I mean, I can remember. I don't remember what the median price range was in 2011, but I can remember for our business, our average price sales price was $111,000, or excuse me, $114,000.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
and
Okay,
so
so days on market right now, where are you at?
so for anything that sells, we're at 60 as of yesterday.
Okay.
For the active listings is at
Uh-huh.
86. Theoretically, we've got 59 days of inventory or 1.9 months supply.
Wow.
To put
Okay.
that in perspective, days on market for the sales, last month was at 65. So it's a little bit, it's still even lower. Last quarter was 58, so it's down. But if you go back a year ago, that number
Right.
was 73. So you go
Exactly.
320 of 2019, that was significantly higher. I mean, that's what, over 10, not quite 20% higher. So
Right. And the days on market here, we are looking at days on market for all price ranges, correct?
yes,
Okay, got it. Okay, so then my next question on this report would be, or actually, you probably don't have this in any kind of a report. Maybe you do, since this guy is such a genius. But tell me this, multiple offer situations happening constantly?
everywhere. Yeah,
Really?
even in the higher price ranges, we're seeing it. We're seeing multiple offers. I can just tell you from my own team's experience, not that not that we do enough deals to know the entire market, but we certainly feel it.
Yeah,
We're seeing competition on all price ranges, both on the buy side and on our listings. We're getting multiple offers on everything. Obviously, that's priced appropriately.
of course. So then tell me this, of those multiple offers, how many multiple offers are we talking about? Would you?
I'll give you an example just from this week, and it was in I want to say right around 300, so right in our median.
Yep.
Uh, I know for a fact one home that we put in contract this week was 7 offers, and it was, yeah, that's pretty normal. You
Wow.
might only see 3 or 4 if it's not priced really high or if they take it off the market really quick. But yeah,
Sure.
we see some pretty quick offers and compete against quite a few people when we are representing the buyer.
Wow, that is crazy. I get excited when we have two offers on a
Me too.
property. So, okay, well, thank you for going through this. I love looking at numbers. I love looking at stats. I'm fascinated by them. So what I want to ask you next is, with your team, specifically in Phoenix, how many people are on your team?
Reagan, that is a really good question. Should I stop? Should I take this down? So it goes back to us.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, let's do that.
let me see.
Hang on
Here we
here.
go.
Okay, there
So
we are.
when it comes to our team, that's a moving target. Our model is a little more of, I don't want to call it the broker model, kind of we're a larger team. I want to say we're probably right around 40 agents right now, not all in Phoenix, but when we add up the agents on our roster between all of the locations that we service, we're right at about 40 right now.
Okay, so do you know how many you have in Phoenix?
I would
Approximately.
probably, I would venture to say 20 to 22 of those are in Phoenix.
Okay, okay. And then what are the other markets that you're serving with your expansion team?
So we've been in Denver, Colorado now for 5.5 years.
Okay.
In that entire area. We've been in Nashville, Tennessee for 5 years, or coming up on 5 years in May. We have been in San Luis Obispo, California for the last almost 3 years now. And Dallas, Texas, we opened up just about a year ago. And we
Oh,
just shut down Tucson. We'd been there for about 4.5 years, but our agent Brian there just moved to Texas in the last couple of weeks, and so
okay.
we're just going to shut that location down for now.
Sure. Now, when you talk about locations across the country, do you have physical locations or are agents working out of their home?
So we do not have physical locations any longer. We used to. We
Yep.
do in Tempe, but that's because Fred and I own the building, and him and I
Sure.
are just the type of people that like to go to the office every day. We don't require it of our agents.
Okay.
Um, you could imagine some of the more productive agents do show up to the office every day. They like to
Yep.
make calls together, practice scripts. So we have the office there in Tempe. We do not provide office space anywhere else. I know that our agents in California have their own office. Um, I
Oh, I
don't
see.
I don't believe anywhere else is working from an office. They're all either working from home or from Regis through the eXp
Yep.
deal.
Okay. So you bring up eXp. You're with eXp Realty.
Yes.
However, you didn't start your career there.
No, I spent the first 11 years of my career at Keller Williams Realty, and so this June will be 2 years exactly that we've been in eXp.
Okay, and I understand that if I have stalked you enough on Facebook and
Uh-oh.
yeah, and
And you
on
still wanted
social
to
media,
do this call. Okay, this is
yeah,
good.
yeah. So what I want to know from you is, are you were the first expansion team with Keller Williams?
We were probably one of them. I would not say
Okay.
we definitely were not the first. I'd probably have to say Ben Kinney was the first expansion team within Keller Williams. We're probably the first one to leave though, and come to EXP.
According to Inman, you were the first one to leave.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm sure that we were, but who knows?
Sure. So, can you tell me a little bit about your expansion team? Why are you in other places?
That's a question I ask myself a lot. The reality is, if I go back in time to when we started doing this, which was 2014.
Yeah,
Gosh, I can't believe it's been that long.
right?
We truthfully, we were trying to figure out who we were as a business. So if I go back a little bit further, if you don't mind, in 2013 and 14, 2000, actually, I'm gonna go backwards even more. 2012, Fred and I had taken a position and we were running a region for Keller Williams Realty. Our team was only in Phoenix. Um, from the outside, things looked great. We were having our best year ever. We ended up selling 219 homes that year, but inside things were falling apart. We'd done a really poor job leading. We didn't have any leaders inside of our company. And as soon as we realized that we were not employable and there was no way we should be doing that job, we quit, came home, and everyone pretty much promptly quit. So within a short period of time, so we really retracted in 2000. I always tell people, and at the same time, the market was taking off. So here I am. I cut my teeth in short sales. I've taken hundreds and hundreds of listings without ever leaving the office, and all of a sudden, I can't get listings. I mean, I can get a couple short sale listings, but I got to now go compete for traditional. So we go backwards from a standpoint of, it's funny, we actually made more money, but we went backwards in a standpoint of, I went back into working with all the listings. Fred took on all the buyers. We ultimately ended up hiring a couple salaried buyers agents,
Sure.
and we just went to town and started selling real estate. And we went backwards for the first time ever. 2013, we went back to like 130, 140 transactions. And then in 14, as we started to figure things out, when I say figure things out, understand how to compete in a up market as opposed to just a down market where we had the
Sure.
competitive advantage, we realized like the business that we wanted didn't include us going on listing appointments every day
Got
and to be able to have a business. And so we started to look at our options, and it was a conversation with a couple different agents, and specifically with Ben Kinney. We'd spent a few days with him at his house and his offices, and just kind of talking about business and different models and ideas. We just completely changed our model. And right about the same time as we were going to switch to what I call the sales agent model, which is where we allow our agents to work with both buyers and sellers as opposed to just having specialists.
Yep,
Nothing wrong with that, but my goal was to get further away from the living room. And so if someone went away, I didn't want to have that job back. And so
exactly.
I wanted to get further away. And so what we did is, because we like to do things big, there was a few other questions, or I'm sorry, conversations that were happening. One including that put us back in Denver for a couple meetings. And one of the gentlemen that we met with that day just happened to make a statement of like, yeah, if you guys were ever going to sell real estate in Denver, I would totally want to work with you. And we knew each other from the short sale days. He had never sold retail real estate before. He'd been an investor, but ran a software company. And
Okay.
he said, okay. And probably the worst thing that ever happened is that he was really good at it. And so that's why, truthfully, I mean, so he joined us September 1st, 2014. This is, and at the same time, we're simultaneously switching our model to we're now hiring agents. Our agents that were on salary went to bonus, or excuse me, went to a commission structure, and I started hiring a few more. And we went to Denver too because we figured we could do that. Now, the the other piece of that is back in 2011, we had started considering expanding because the price point I told you about earlier
Yes.
was so low. One of the things my coach had challenged us to do was to come up with like 50 different ways we could increase our average sales price. One of those was go sell real estate in San Diego because their average sales price was still in the three or four hundreds at the time.
Okay.
And so we had been putting plans together to go start selling real estate and then put those on hold when we took that regional job. So it was kind of a natural thing when we got back into it after we had kind of righted the ship in the business, if you will, and
Mm-hmm.
figured out what our model was going to be. And it was just coincidence. Aaron said, hey, I would do that with you. And the worst thing that ever happened to us is he was amazing. And so September to December that year, we sold truthfully one house, and it was his mom. We closed one deal. It was his mom. That was probably his second or third deal ever as a real estate agent.
Mm-hmm.
But the following year, we closed 105 transactions, and he personally did 72 of those.
Oh
He was,
my gosh.
yeah, he was better at closing than we thought he would be. We were better at generating leads than we thought we would be, and
Yep.
we were getting pretty good on the operation side and system side too, and transactional support. And then simultaneously, within a few months, Fred's now sister-in-law, who I actually hired in 2009 to quite literally answer phones because we had all these short sale listings and people just wanted to talk to somebody. Um, she had she kind of grown up with us in real estate, and she had left us in 2012 and wanted to get into commercial real estate. So she left the team,
Okay.
although at that time, she was our listing agent. She and her now husband, which is Fred's little brother, Brian, had moved to Nashville. And one day I got a reference check for her from another agent. And I was like, that's weird. She wants to get back into real estate. I thought she was done with it.
Oh no.
And she ended up not getting that job. And so we were talking a couple weeks later, and she said, I was like, what are you doing? I thought you weren't going to do that. She's like, no, I want to be back in real estate. So here we are. We're geniuses, right? Like we've got this expansion thing figured out. So that's why we opened up Nashville. And so really we just bought our own success and believed in it.
Oh,
Luckily, what is true, which is when you're in business with really amazing people, that's all that matters. The
yes.
model has changed over time. When I look at the people that we are in business with today, there's a bunch of long and deep relationships there.
Mm.
So that's kind of how and why we started. We thought, hey, this would be a lot of fun. I like to toy around with things. So does Fred. I wanted
Yeah.
to treat it more like a business. I saw it as an opportunity to grow as a business person, as
Mm-hmm.
well as kind of just do something that was fun and unique at the time and challenging.
I love that. Okay, great. Cool. Thank you for sharing that story.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
okay, so now let's go back to you're at Keller Williams and somebody brought up the word eXp Realty to you.
Yeah, it didn't quite go like that. We had heard about eXp, and we didn't want anything to do with it, to be honest with you. Our
Yeah.
viewpoint of eXp was they attracted agents we didn't want to be around, we didn't want to be associated with, and because of that, we never gave it a fair look. We
Yep.
genuinely didn't. But what did happen is gradually over time we fell out of love with Keller Williams. So like I'll often be asked, "Hey, why did you leave KW for eXp?" And that's not the right question. The right question is, why did you leave KW? The second
Oh,
question is, why did you end up choosing eXp? Because that's really how it happened.
okay.
Um, I will never forget the day. It was in 2017, where we just kind of looked up and said, this isn't home anymore. This is not for us. Not saying it's right or wrong, good or bad. It's just not the fit for us. And
Okay.
so part of it was our model. It was expensive, So if I look back to 2017, our agents and us probably paid, not probably, paid well over $500,000 in company dollar and royalty alone. Forget about office rent and copiers and e-edge and consortium and all the other fees that they charge.
Right.
And we went, KW is making almost as much money from our business as we are. This is not like, that's not okay. And so that
Exactly.
all of a sudden the cost outweighed the value for us. And if I'm being real honest, at that point, the only value we saw in the company was Gary Keller himself and the network of people that we had built relationships with over the years. But we had realized those relationships were staying with us regardless. And so,
Absolutely.
as Gary sort of shifted his narrative to this technology thing, which I firmly disagree with him on, still to this day, I just went, we just sort of went like, hey, we got to look for a new home. And that
Hmm.
started the process for us about, we probably started that process in May or June that year.
Kevin,
And yeah,
let me ask you this. What narrative are you strongly disagreeing
well,
with
I mean, at the
KW?
time, yeah, at the time, Gary was doing a lot of, it was in private meetings at first. I was in a small mastermind with him called Pirate Mastermind. It was for mostly for expansion agents. There's probably about 20 of us in the group. And we
Yeah.
were meeting with Gary probably monthly or every other month there for a while. And he kept talking about wanting to build this technology for us. And, what if I could just build you Sync or Boomtown and just all
Right.
this weird stuff. And he started talking about all these other companies as if they were bad and dumb and how they were going to steal your data, which I mean,
Yeah.
okay, great. You can tell me they're going to steal it, but I should trust you. And then
Right.
I'll never forget the day we were in a Pirates mastermind, and I said to him, I realized what his plan was, and I just said, hey, the reality is, Gary, right now, if you become my tech provider, the problem with that is, at the time I was a Boomtown customer, and I said I can call Boomtown right now if I have a problem, and they're going to fix it, or I'm not paying them, and I'm taking my business somewhere else. I can't do that to you because you have my transactions, you have my agents, you have everything wrapped up in your ecosystem, and I want separation. And when I signed up here, you told me it was my listing, my lead, and that you would never get between me and the consumer. And now you are directly telling me you're going to be between me and the consumer. I'll never use your technology. And that
Yeah.
that was kind of the beginning of the end for us. That when we
Sure.
started going, hey, let's look elsewhere.
Thanks for explaining that. Okay, so then you were searching for other brokerages.
Yeah.
With you and Fred deciding, gosh, where are we going to hang our license? Where are we going to hang our hat? So what drew you, I guess, to eXp?
So truthfully, we thought ultimately we're going to end up going as an independent brokerage. We never wanted that, and I think about 6 months into our search, we realized that was probably our only option at the time. And then
Okay.
about a month into that, I mean, we literally had 4 entities formed in different states. We already had 2 or 3 of the brokerages up and running, and we're ready to move.
Wow.
One day we just looked and went, "What are we doing? This is not what we want." Um, and so that's probably about February, maybe March of 2018.
Okay.
And go backwards a little bit in January, a good friend of ours, Curtis Johnson, who's here in the Phoenix area, he had moved to eXp, and he had told us about it in December and wanted us to go with him. And the joke is like Fred literally said, "Hell no! Like I'm not even gonna have the conversation." We just we didn't want to have the conversation. But
Yeah.
Curtis is a long at that time we'd known him by that time we'd known him for well over 10 years. Been a
Yeah.
good friend. We had tried to get in business together a few different times, and it just never quite worked out. And so we were once we real so he was gone at EXP. We were just sort of like resigned to the fact we were going to be at KW for the foreseeable future. And
Hmm.
then I think we just got antsy and started looking around. And 2 things happened. Number one, we went to lunch with Curtis because we told him we would.
Yeah.
We said, hey, after you've actually been there for 4 or 5 months, let's tell me about it. Like I want to know if it's everything you hoped it would be.
Yeah.
And so we had lunch with Curtis, and he started telling us about it. And the number one thing I noticed about Curtis he looked like he had gotten significantly younger. Like he was having so much fun. I'm not kidding. Like the very first thing I said to Fred that day when we walked back to our cars, I said, Curtis looks like he's reversed age 10 to 15 years
So like
from the
he had
last time
more
I saw
hair
him.
than you?
What's that?
He had more hair than you?
Oh, a lot more. And he had a smile on his face. His skin looked good. I mean, I don't like to compliment him too much, so make sure, hopefully he won't hear this.
Right.
But truthfully, he's you know what, we went, okay, he's really liking that. And it made all the sense in the world. And simultaneously, that same day or same week, I had a friend who was sort of like guiding us through our options and looking, helping us to explore what we really had. Said, you know, I really think you should reconsider EXP. And this guy's not at EXP. I won't say his name, won't say where he's at.
Yeah.
He said, I know Glenn, the founder. Why don't you call him? Here's his cell phone number. Tell him I told you to call and tell him your concerns. And so I did. And like within 24 hours of the meeting with Curtis, I'd spoken to Glenn. And the most important thing I got from Glenn was a sense of that guy was trying to solve the same problems Fred and I were trying to solve. And he actually cared about it. Whereas at KW, we felt like we were in the way and we were an inconvenience. And he was actually trying to solve the same things. And so it took us literally days only to make the decision. We didn't make
Yeah.
the move for a month because Aaron from Colorado happened to be in a different country for 5 weeks. But we made the decision pretty quickly. I probably made the decision in a day or two. Fred probably made it in less than a week, and
Okay.
we were gone.
And here you are.
Yeah. And I will tell you right now, as of this recording in March 2020, so almost 2 years in, it's the best decision we've ever made in our business. And it's absolutely, I would do it again 100 times over.
Yes. Good. And I say the same thing. It's the best decision that I made for my life, um, in my business, financially, personally. It's phenomenal. And I like to think that I'm a tech geek, and I was once at Keller Williams as well. And I really, thought, wow, Keller Williams has it all as far as, technology and education and training. But, coming over to eXp, after some other hop arounds, coming to eXp, I'm like, are you kidding me? Wow, this is everything that I wanted it to be and then some.
Yeah.
And I feel so comfortable with it. Like I do feel at peace, where I didn't feel that peace at the other places that I guess I was at. I
Yeah.
don't feel held down. I don't feel suffocated. Um, eXp has really helped me open up, just even on a personal level, and allowed me to open up and become, I guess, the person that I'm supposed to be today, in March of 2020. And it just continues to grow for me. And I get to do what I still love to do, and that's real estate and training and education. And being a real estate coach, I still get to do all of those things, just a different and better way. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. So I do have somebody, um, who is so somebody that I attracted to eXp. Her daughter now is got her license, and she is going to be in Denver.
Oh,
So
wow.
maybe we could, at some point, you could have a conversation with her, and talk to her maybe about coming to your team.
Yeah. Let us
She,
know for sure.
we will. She's a fantastic girl. She's going to go very far. She's going to get her license in Sioux Falls as well in South Dakota, because she goes back and forth. But I think ultimately she wants to be, permanently full time in, Denver. So
Cool.
because that's where she was before she came home, in the last 4 years. So anyway, I will get you her contact information and try to get you guys to connect, because I think it'd be a great starting place for her in her career.
Cool.
Um, Kevin, tell me this: the name of your business, the 4610.
Okay.
That still kind of gives me chills, in a good way. How did you guys come up with that name?
So you want the real story, like the long story, or like the whole truth about it?
Did you
Uh,
just like the way it rhymed or sounded?
no. So I got to go back to another business that Fred owned. He and another business partner had owned a business, and they had done some actually like creative real estate training prior to me being in the real estate field.
Okay.
And one of those lessons that they had was think with the end in mind or begin with the end in mind, and it always stuck out to me. So now fast forward to we're working together, and this is probably March of 2008, so like a month and a half in. Our bit we went from, it felt like 10 or 12 listings to 50 overnight, and it probably wasn't much longer than overnight. So I
Okay.
legitimately looked at Fred one day and I said, "Hey, we need some more signs. Do you want your name and number on it? I don't want mine." And he said, "Absolutely not." And so I said, "Okay, I guess we should think of like a team name or something like that." He
Sure.
said, "Yeah." And so I was thinking about a couple different team names. I went home that night, and the gentleman Mark, who is a good friend of mine and Fred's, he used to be a Spanish pastor, and he had taken the book Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. One of those is
Sure.
begin with the end in mind or think with the end in mind, and he'd put in those to different scriptures. And I don't remember if it was from a class he was in or from a teaching he had attended that was put on by Covey. And at any rate, Isaiah 46:10 correlated with begin with the end in mind or think with the end in mind. And so I literally came up with 3 or 4 names, and in the email, one of them was Group 4610, which for us meant a lot, begin with the end in mind, because we were doing so many short sales. And we knew that like from the time I had a phone call with you as a prospective client, I was asking questions of things I needed to know that I knew would help me 7 or 8 months down the road to be able to make
Okay.
sure the transaction closes. So begin with the end in mind really stuck out to us. And so that was it. We just all looked at it and went, yeah, it's Group 4610, no doubt about it. We just kind of, and we just rolled with it. Um,
Wow.
so here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay. So, tell me, your top three most favorite things about eXp Realty.
Oh gosh, we literally did a video on our top 35 things. So if I had to do top three, I would say collaboration, number one, first and foremost. Number two is I love the leadership and the openness of the leadership at the company, the ability to be, so like one of the core values is agile, and they
Yeah.
are extremely agile. I love that. They're not afraid to change. They're not afraid to pivot. I think that's really important, especially in today's world. Um, and I mean, for me, I could sum it all up, and it's really collaboration because it's people that I love.
Yeah.
And so it's the ability to be, I feel more connected now with my broker and my brokerage in
Yeah.
Arizona than I ever have in my almost 13 years in real estate. And so when I look at all of those things combined, I mean, I feel more supported now. I've got great collaboration, and I love that the company is agile. It, and I'll tell you another thing, they're transparent. Like one of the things I really appreciated
Mm.
is I remember shortly after I started, somebody on the executive team had left, and Glenn, the CEO and founder, or at the time CEO, I should say, came out and said, "Hey, here's what happened. So and so resigned," and it was a tough time. And what I loved is that he didn't throw anybody under the bus.
Mm-hmm.
He was super honoring of her and her time and what she did, even
Humble.
though, yeah, even though she probably wasn't right for the job she had, he did
Sure.
nothing but honor her. And I just came from a world at KW where there were so many backstories there, and there's a rumor about everybody who was ostracized and kicked out of the company or left for any reason. It somehow managed to always be a backstory that would come
Yep.
out about it. And I always hated that about KW and the politics side there. And
Yep.
so at EXP, the first time that something really hard happened, Glenn was just like, "Here's what happened." He didn't play politics. He was super honoring of that person, and I thought that
Mhm.
for me that just meant a lot.
Yeah, he's a straight shooter.
Yeah.
Kind of no BS. And I appreciate that too. Um, okay, so I want you to tell everybody how they can find you, how they can find you on Facebook, Twitter, um, maybe talk about how they can find your podcast that you and Fred do,
Sure.
or your videos that you're
Yeah,
constantly doing.
we are. Yeah.
How do buyers and sellers and agents find you guys?
So the number one way to find us, especially for agents, would be probably look up our podcast, and it's really originally titled The Kevin and Fred Show.
Right.
We release 5 episodes a week. We love doing it, love teaching. We've got a website called kevinandfred.com. Again, super original, where you can link to the podcast, but you can also contact us there directly. That if you use the contact form on that page, it literally comes to mine and Fred's email. So
Okay.
that's the best way. Obviously, Facebook, it works. Instagram, Twitter, and I can send you all the links or the URLs if you'd like.
Yeah, that'd be
Um,
awesome.
for that. And then for homeowners, for people who are buyers and sellers in the Phoenix metro area, group4610network.com is a great place to find us. You can reach me and or Fred or anybody else on our team directly from that website, and
Okay.
we would love to help them out as well.
Okay, awesome. I love that. Okay, well, this has been an awesome, exciting interview. I really appreciate it. I will tell you when I've been talking about you behind your back, like normal people do.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, with some of my agents, I could never think of Fred's name. So I'd be like, Kevin and Ted. And I'm not kidding you. I called Fred Ted, I don't know, so many times that it's kind of a joke now. And yeah, no, it's Kevin and Fred, not Kevin
Yep,
and Ted.
that's
So
funny.
anyway, yeah, that just cracks me up personally. So anyway, thank you so much for this awesome interview and all of your insight on the Phoenix real estate market and the tools that you guys use. Thanks for telling and sharing your experience going from Keller Williams and finding eXp and it being your home now and you being grateful for that opportunity. And I'm super grateful just for you to be here this morning and share this with me. I've wanted to, meet you for a while. And so I'm super excited that you took the time out of your busy schedule to hang out with me. So thank you so much.
My pleasure, and I'm looking forward to chatting with you again, and hopefully sometime soon in person.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, thanks so much, Kevin.
Awesome. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon, Reagan.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye.